Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Buffalo Sports Center. I am Don, and today I regret to inform you that the Buffalo Sabres will be playing regular season hockey in a few short weeks. With that in mind, I just wanted to preview what's happened altogether this offseason, plus what happened last season, just to give us some context as we go into a pivotal 2025-26 season here for the Buffalo Sabres. Of course, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, join the Discord, all those things. All those links are in the description box below. Now, let's get to talking about what the Sabres did last season. It was a very disappointing 2024-25 season for the Buffalo Sabres. They missed the playoffs yet again. They only finished with 79 points. The Montreal Canadiens, who were the second wildcard team and the last team into the whole playoff picture, they finished with 91 points, so the Sabres were well off the mark once again. They have extended their playoff drought for an NHL record 14 seasons. That's right, 14 seasons without a playoff game here in Buffalo for their hockey team. That was really embarrassing, especially when going into that 2024-25 season, Kevin Adams, Terry Pegula, Lindy Ruff, everyone on the team as well, they kept saying that the Sabres are in win-now mode. Well, obviously, that did not translate to the on-ice performance. The Sabres were marred by inconsistencies, especially in December, when they went on a 13-game losing streak. Now, they did improve after that disastrous losing streak, but because of that streak and going 0-10-3, that basically killed their season. They had to play catch-up, and it was going to take a miracle for the Sabres to even get close to the playoff picture. In the end, they missed out by 12 points. There were some bright spots on the team. Last offseason's additions, namely Jason Zucker and Ryan McLeod, each provided a lot to the Sabres' middle six forward core. Unfortunately, the defense was awful. Matthias Samuelsson, I can notably pick him out because he had a few very egregious mistakes throughout the season. Most notably, when Tage Thompson was rocked against the New Jersey Devils deep into the season. It was March or April. And Matthias Samuelsson, he's a big burly defenseman, doesn't provide much on offense. He's expected to bring a level of grit to this team. He had an A on his crest, on his jersey as well. He watched Tage Thompson get killed and did nothing about it. He just stood there and let it happen. Did not retaliate, did not answer for his teammate, who probably suffered a concussion. And that play was emblematic of the entire season there for the Buffalo Sabres. This team has been unable to take that next step, especially after their promising season 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. Sorry, it's 3 years at this point when the Sabres missed out on the playoffs by a singular point. So let's stop talking about last season and transition into what happened this offseason. The Sabres and Kevin Adams, who is increasingly under the gun, he's been the general manager for 5 years, he had to make moves, and he did. He brought in a few players around the edges, most notably Josh Doan, Alex Lyon, Connor Timmins, Justin Danforth. The most notable addition for Kevin Adams and the Buffalo Sabres this offseason was defenseman Michael Kesselring, who is projected to slot right next to Owen Power in the top four core for the Sabres defensive pool. Michael Kesselring, he had a very nice mini breakout season with the Utah Mammoth last year in their inaugural season. Michael Kesselring, he was elevated, pushed up in the lineup due to injuries, and he played extended minutes in the top four, and he got 29 points on the other end of things. It was a very good season for Kesselring, and the Sabres are banking on that he can play top 4 minutes consistently for another season and beyond. And for Owen Power, hopefully this works out, because people are getting very, very frustrated with Power and his lack of progression at the NHL level. As for Josh Doan, he was another piece of that J.J. Peterka trade. Oh, did I mention? The Sabres traded away J.J. Peterka. Yeah, that happened. As part of that Peterka trade, the Sabres did get the aforementioned Michael Kesselring plus Josh Doan. Josh Doan is expected to fill third-line minutes, and honestly, looking at the depth chart for the Sabres here, with Ryan McLeod, Jason Zucker, and or Zach Benson, plus Josh Doan, the Sabres have a really sneaky good third line. It's too bad there are so many questions above that line in the Sabres forward core. Most notably, who is going to be the number one center. But we'll get to some of the issues later on. Alex Lyon, is going to be the Sabres' backup goaltender, maybe. If Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen continues to struggle, though, maybe Alex Lyon sees more minutes. Maybe he becomes a stopgap starter. That's certainly not what the Sabres are hoping for, especially since Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen did sign a massive contract extension last offseason. He is going into his second year of that deal right now, which pays him about $4.75 million per year. And I mentioned Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen already. He will be one of our issues that we address later in this video. As for Connor Timmins, he is going to be a replacement for Connor Clifton on the bottom of the defensive pool. Clifton was shipped out to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And finally, Justin Danforth, another gritty veteran forward who's going to be replacing Sam Lafferty. As for the departures, I mentioned it already. The big news was that J.J. Peterka, yes, the Sabres star right winger, or former star right winger for the Sabres, he was traded to the Utah Mammoth, as I mentioned, for Kesselring and Josh Doan. It was basically a sign and trade. He signed a 5-year extension with the Mammoth that gives him a boatload of money. Money that the Sabres definitely could have paid him. Unfortunately, Peterka just did not want to be in Buffalo anymore, as do a lot of players. They do not want to play for this losing team anymore. Sam Lafferty, another player shipped out. He had a really disappointing 24-25 season. James Reimer, he's towards the end of his career. The Sabres are looking for someone more reliable and has a few more games in them. James Reimer, he did play good at the end of last season, but he's nearing on his 38th, 39th year alive on this earth. He's an old man, and he just did not have the legs at times to put together a string of games for the Sabres. And that is really crucial given that UPL has struggled so mightily over the last 12 months. And then Jacob Bernard-Docker, he was one of the pieces acquired from Ottawa in the Dylan Cousins trade. He was not tendered an extension. He walked and went to the Sabres' Atlantic Division rivals, the Detroit Red Wings. So let's talk about some of the issues facing this Sabres team. Most notably, can the goaltending improve? I've already talked about how UPL struggled last year. You can see his stats from last season at the bottom of the screen. He went 24, 24, and 5. A 3.2 goals against average, and an 8.87 save percentage. His expected goals saved were well below the average for NHL goalies, and certainly not good enough to be a starter in this league. UPL needs to be better. It's a simple fact. The Sabres are paying him to be their starting goalie. He did not perform like it last year. They need more consistency from him going into this year if the Sabres are to have any chance of making the playoffs. And a common excuse for the goaltenders last year was that, oh, well, the defense isn't good enough. Well, the Sabres defense is actually the best core we've had over the course of this drought, with Dahlin, Bo Byram, Owen Power, Michael Kesselring, Connor Timmins, Matthias Samuelsson. That is not a bad D-core. So if they continue to struggle again, if goaltending cannot keep the puck out of the net, then more of the blame will be shifted towards UPL. I feel like the patience with him is starting to wear, both outside and within the organization. And Devin Levi, he is likely to start the season in Rochester. The Sabres' plan with him is to keep him there. We will see if he gets any minutes in the NHL. The Sabres also brought in Alex Georgiev late into the offseason just as another insurance option for Rochester and for the Sabres. Let's keep on moving now, folks. Another big issue facing the Buffalo Sabres is who will replace J.J. Peterka and all of his goals. When J.J. Peterka was traded away from Buffalo, him and his 30-something goals per year also went with him. In came Michael Kesselring. He is not going to be the goal scorer of that piece. Josh Doan, which is asking him a lot, he's going to have to replace some of those. And the Sabres, they've always, over the last 2 years, have had a consistently high number of 5-on-5 goals. Josh Doan and his 5-on-5 metrics have excelled. He's been great in that facet. He's going to need to be continuing to do that because the Sabres, if there's one part of their inconsistent game that is okay and consistent, it's their 5-on-5 play. And Josh Doan can be a positive impact on that, but the Sabres will need to be looking towards Zach Benson, Yuri Kulik, some of these guys to fill in and replace the goals that left with Peterka. And it's going to be a huge part to the Sabres at least maintaining one part of their game. Also, another huge problem for this team is whether or not Bo Byram will actually stay. And yes, I do understand the fact that Bo Byram did sign a 2-year extension in the middle of this offseason, but this was after constant, near endless trade speculation between him and the rest of the NHL. A lot of teams were involved in talking with him. I think of the St. Louis Blues off the top of my head. The only thing is, no one was offering what Kevyn Adams wanted, and in the end, both sides decided, hey, we're going to stick this out for 2 more years, let Bo Byram play even better, give him some more minutes, top 4 role guaranteed, and maybe that'll translate into a bigger contract for Bo Byram here or in another city. But I only ask this question mainly because we saw a similar situation play out between the Carolina Hurricanes and Martin Necas. Martin Necas and the Hurricanes, I believe they signed a 1-year extension after a contracted trade speculation regarding him. He stayed in Carolina for only 2 or 3 months out of 6 months for the season before being traded to the Colorado Avalanche. A similar situation could happen with Bo Byram, and a few NHL insiders are also hinting towards that, namely Sabres hater Frank Saravalli. Finally, folks, another major problem facing the Buffalo Sabres, and one that they are going to need to answer this season, is whether or not they go to the playoffs. Perhaps the most important thing for this team is to find success. The Sabres did so 2 years ago. They failed to capitalize it. Now is the time. Now has to be it. Kevyn Adams and Lindy Ruff are both going to the final seasons of their contracts. The Sabres coaching staff, the same deal for them. This has to be the year where the Sabres make some improvement, if not make the playoffs. I think the expectations within the organization is that the Sabres either make the playoffs or drastic changes will happen if they don't. And for the Sabres fans, what do those drastic changes mean? Probably another mini retool or rebuild, something that nobody in this city can tolerate. Fans are already not showing up to the games. Why? Because this team just doesn't win. They haven't won now. They didn't win 5 years ago. They didn't even win 10 years ago. It's been too long for this team to not be good. One of these years, the Sabres just have to break through to the wild side. Maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year where the Sabres put together their 5-on-5 strengths, the goaltending improves, UPO bounces back to his form 2 seasons ago, the defense with this revamped Connor Timmins and Michael Kesselring additions, plus the stay of Bo Byram, maybe that all pushes the Sabres forward and finally gets them over that hump and back into the postseason. But folks, that was a lot of talking for me. I'm done now. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I am done. This here is Buffalo Sports Center. Let me know your thoughts and predictions for the Sabres 2025-26 season. I hope to see all of you in the next video very, very soon. Goodbye.